Welcome to the Arun Church podcast, where our mission is bringing life to everyone, everywhere, every day. Each podcast episode features the latest talk from our church, which are released weekly. We're passionate about Jesus, love to worship together, and are committed to changing our community for the better. Connect with us at arunchurch.com.
Well, as always, what a great morning we've had already. Anna, thank you for a brilliant children's talk and I guess in a way introduction to what we're speaking about today, because I'm just going to be carrying on from what Anna said. And in a way, if all we took home from today was what Anna said, then that would be amazing. Then that's hugely powerful that we are the light of the world. But before we begin looking at that in more detail and thinking about that, I would like to get us thinking and imagining. So can you all close your eyes, unless you're looking after a 2-year-old who's likely to do something dangerous. Everybody close your eyes. Okay, eyes are closed. What I want you to do is I would like you to picture God. I'd like you to imagine yourself sitting before God, and I'd like you to picture him. Have a think, what image or images do you have in your mind? What words come to mind when you're sitting and looking at God in this place in your mind? What do you see? What words do you think? Okay. Eyes open. If you want to just share that with the person sitting next to you, just if you're comfortable doing that, just 1 or 2 words, just share what for you when you in that moment, when you were picturing God, what images came to mind for you? So when you picture God, what do you picture? Okay, I won't give that too long. So hopefully even in that tiny bit of time, you've just had a chance. Maybe you had the same image as the person you're chatting to. Maybe you had exactly the same words that came to mind. But the likelihood is that, there we go, that was lovely, well done. Shall I do the Jacob Collier thing? No, I won't do that. Take too much time. Tempted, though. Tempted. But it's probably that you had something slightly different. Even if it was a similar image, it was possibly slightly different. Or perhaps completely different. Perhaps one of you saw something that was completely different from how the other person did. And it's interesting, isn't it, how we see God. Because how we see God has a massive impact on how we outwork our faith and how we walk and how we think, doesn't it? So the next thing I'd like you to do, and we're not going to share this, but just I'd like you to close your eyes again. Open, close. It's fun, isn't it? Close your eyes again. And in that picture, I want you to picture that again of you sitting before Jesus, before God, before the Father God, before the Holy Spirit, whatever you saw in your mind. I want you to think of that same image. And I want you to think about yourself. What do you see? What image or images do you associate with you? What words do you associate with you? Okay, eyes open. I bet you if we had, we could probably spend hours talking about that with each other, because how we view God is different sometimes than each other, and how we view ourselves will be very different, won't it? And in that place, some of you might have found that a beautiful place to stop and think about how you see yourself, and maybe that was easy for you, and you sat there and thought, yeah, I'm loved, I'm chosen, and that was an easy thing, and those were the things that came to mind. But perhaps that silence in that space was really challenging. Perhaps the words that you spoke over yourself weren't such encouraging words. Perhaps you heard words that other people had spoken over you, or that you'd spoken about yourself. I wonder what you saw and you heard, because our identity, how we see ourselves and how we see God, is hugely significant in our lives, isn't it? I think we'd all agree in that. We spent some time as a staff team with Sam Archer over there a few weeks ago, and Sam, it was amazing. Sam spoke to us and did his model about our different personality types and body types and different ideas about how that's formed, how we are shaped. The nature and nurture and genetics and all of those things kind of pulled together as a quick summary. And it's really interesting to stop and to think about who am I? What makes up me? And actually, how we see ourselves impacts everyone around us, because we can walk into a room and how we are thinking about ourselves in that moment can affect how we interact with the people around us. So it's really significant, those two things. So we're going to be thinking about that just as we carry on with this morning. And as Anna introduced, we're thinking this morning about the light. You are the light of the world. But I think generally when we think about the light of the world, who do we think about? Just shout it out. Jesus. It's rare that if somebody says, who's the light of the world? So that person goes, me. I am. In fact, if someone did that, you'd probably be like, oh dear, look at them, hey? But do you know what? Jesus said, when Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I think as Christians, those of us who are Christians and who'd call Jesus our Saviour, that's quite an easy concept to understand, isn't it? I think you probably mostly agree that Jesus is the light of the world, that when we walk with him, we're not walking in darkness. And for us as Christians, that's quite we kind of can sit that, yeah, Jesus is the light of the world, woo. But in the passage we're looking at today, Jesus doesn't just say that. But before that, I've got a little quote by C.S. Lewis, because who doesn't love C.S. Lewis? He's amazing. He says, I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see the sun in the sky, but because by it, I see everything else. Isn't that interesting? So I think as Christians, we can understand that, can't we? And if you don't understand that, come and chat to me at the end. I'm happy to talk more about this. There's so many different things we could chat about. But as Christians, we know that, don't we? We know that we look at the world, or hopefully we try to look at the world through how Jesus looks at the world. And that affects that, doesn't it? It really, it significantly affects that. But let's think about this verse and these verses we're looking at today. Now, Jo spoke amazingly last week, didn't he, on you are the salt of the earth. And he introduced that to us beautifully and spoke about us, God's people having a covenant of salt and that promise, that walk with God, that we are his people, and spoke about being salt of the earth and the saltiness in us affecting the world around us, because that's who we are. Well, this week it really is an extension from that. So Jesus said to them, the crowd, remember the crowd that he was speaking to? Do we remember that? The crowd he was speaking to in the Sermon on the Mount were just ordinary people like you and me. There might have been some people who were really clever. There'll probably be some people in the room who are really clever. There might have been people there who don't consider themselves intelligent or intellectual at all, who were kind of in mundane jobs, or people who were just everyone, a whole cross-section of society, like church today, a whole cross-section. That's who he's speaking to. So he's saying it to them, and he's saying it to us today. He said, you are the light of the world. You are. That means you. He's not saying he is in this verse. He's saying you are. So when I'm saying you are, I mean you. Not the person next to you only. I do mean them, but I mean you. You are. You are. Not you will be, not you might be, not once you've got yourself sorted and everything's great and looking rosy and shiny and fantastic, then you will be. No, he says, you are the light of the world. Now I find this interesting, because everyone listening wouldn't have been followers of Jesus necessarily, but at this point, they're there listening, but do they know who he is? Not really, not at this point. And he says to them, you are the light of the world. To me, that says God saying, that's who we're created to be. All of us. Everyone. Whether we know it or whether we don't know it. You are the light of the world. Whether you know it or whether you don't. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. I've highlighted that as well in there. You can see the bits that I've made bold. You are the light of the world. Jesus is speaking into the identity of those people. He's telling them who they are. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. And then at the end there, your Father. Your Father. So if he's saying your Father, he's saying you guys are God's children. You are a child of God. So do you get that, yeah? If he's saying you're a father, that means you're a child, doesn't it? That's the logical place. So he's saying to their identity right there and then, you are salt, you are light, you are a child of God. You are, you are, you are. That's what he's saying to them. You are. How differently would we show up if we really took that to the core? I am light. Jo Gisbey, standing on the stage this morning, is light. Now, I've got a whole page, which I'm not going to do just now, of affirmations that says, I am chosen, I am loved. And it's lots of Bible verses. And yesterday, in preparation for the talk, I stood in front of the mirror. I've not been feeling very well this last couple of weeks and feeling quite weak and a bit rubbish, if I'm honest. And I've been gearing for the talk. I've been saturating myself in God's word and planning. And last night I stood up and I just felt like I need to do this in the mirror. And I stood in the mirror and read through those things. And I got through 2 and then started crying and sat down. Okay, stood back up. Another 2. I am loved. I am chosen. I am strong. All of these things. And it has such an impact. And I got to the last ones, which I put on the list, which I might read to you at the end. I am light. And I thought about getting up this morning here, and it felt odd looking at myself and saying, I am the light of the world. It felt like I was being kind of thinking I was someone I'm not. But then, someone I'm not, hang on, well, who did Jesus say I was? Jesus said, you are the light of the world. So I stand this morning here as the light of the world. Not because of how amazing I am, oh no, but because that's just who I am. I'm a daughter of my mum and dad, Bob and Muriel Scott over there, not because of anything I did. I'm their daughter because that's who I am. So I am the light of the world because that's who I am. Nothing to do with me, all to do with him. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Now, I've got a video. Thanks, Si and the sound guys for sorting out my video for me. Took them a little bit this week. Which is just a really beautiful story. It's about 4 minutes long of, you can see. It's just a story given by a lady. It's her testimony, really, about someone who was the light of the world and who showed up as light in a dark place. So let's watch this. Amazing. Isn't that amazing at the end when he says, it's too good to be true, but it is true. I love that. That video was on the Alpha app, and I found it just this week. I just thought that what a really brilliant example of being the light, isn't it? Like Anna said with the lamp, it's like you light. Jesus uses us and we light, and then that passes on and passes on. But the person who lights the light doesn't stop shining, but that light shines and it carries on and carries on. And I love that story when you think, because you look at the woman who's speaking there, don't you? And we kind of looking at her, but that story started before her with the lady from the church. I love it. They don't even give her a name, do they? The lady from the church. A lady from the church came. And I don't know that lady from the church, none of us do. But maybe that morning, obviously I'm guessing she went regularly into the prisons or had some ministry in the prison. But maybe that morning, maybe she didn't, but maybe that morning she woke up and she was tired and didn't really want to go. And thought, I can't really be bothered, I've got too much to do at home. But I've said I'd go, so I'll go. So I'll go. She turned up at the prison. And I don't think she would have hugged every single prisoner and said, I love you. She might have done, but I don't think she'd have lasted long in the prison, probably, if that's what she'd have done with everybody. I don't know. But I would imagine, that might be wrong, but I would imagine that lady said, God, show me what you want me to show, what you want to show me about this woman. And God probably said to her, hug her and tell her that you love her. Now, I don't know about you, maybe you're more forward than me. If that was me, I'd have thought to myself, that was just me, that was just my voice. I don't really, the idea of, even in that place, just putting your arms around someone and saying, I love you. And then obviously, she said she didn't really react. She just kind of stood there awkwardly. That woman probably went home and just thought, that was really tough. That was really hard. It was really embarrassing and it was really difficult for me to hug them. And who knows, she possibly does know the story of this lady now, probably. But that day, she wouldn't have done. But that lady said yes to being, she knew that she was the light and she needed to step into the darkness of that prison, into those individuals' lives. She needed to step in to bring light, to illuminate that person's world walking in the darkness. Because darkness, how many people used to be scared of the dark or are scared of the dark? It's a very common fear, isn't it? It's being scared of the dark. Because we don't know where we're going. We feel lost, disoriented. We're kind of scared that something might jump out at us. We're scared. In the dark is a scary place. Not in the dark on a lovely moonlit walk with the moon and the stars and romantic hand in hand, having a lovely moonlit stroll in the dark. No, that's lovely. But when there's no dark, there's no light, in the absence of light, in the dark, that is a scary place. But if you've been born blind, the absence of light and the dark is just your normal, isn't it? I don't think somebody who's blind is scared of the dark, do you? No, because they don't know what it's like to walk in the light. They don't know what the light looks like, what it is, we can describe it to them, but they don't know. They've learned to function and live in an incredible way and can live a really normal, healthy, incredible life, someone who's blind. But what they will never know is what light is like. It's what it looks like in front of them. But for us, we have got the light. There are people in this world who've been born blind. Do you see? Spiritually blind, who are unable to see, who don't know they're walking in the dark because that's all they've ever known. And maybe in their familiar environment, when everything's familiar around them, then they don't even notice the spiritual darkness. They don't notice that because they've learnt where things are and they've learnt how to cope and how to live without being able to see. But what happens if you bring light into a dark place? It illuminates it, doesn't it? Not for someone who's blind, and I'm not thinking about that, but from a spiritual perspective. So when we show up, we are light. When we show up, when that lady showed up in the prison, she illuminated that woman, Danielle, her name's Danielle's world. And suddenly Danielle realized she's in prison. She didn't want to be there. She realized she didn't want her life to look like that. And she realized because of the light that there was hope. And my whole big point of today is really complicated and complex, is you are the light of the world. Be the light of the world. Shall we say this together? Shall we say it? Are we ready? You are the light of the world. Be the light of the world. What does that mean? How can we be the light of the world? It might look really different for each of us because we are all individually made. We are all made. We are light. We've established that, haven't we? That's who we are, that's our identity. But we're not made to be the same as each other. Anna's example with the different kinds of lights. We're all different, but we're all needed in the kingdom of God. So yesterday we had some training with an incredible woman called Sarah who works for St. Barnabas. And she gave training to our Life Pod leaders and our pastoral team. And it was grief awareness training. So Sarah, in her job, she walks alongside the dying and the sick and their families. So she, on a daily basis, is faced literally with life and with death. And she's walking that every day. The training she gave yesterday was incredible, really, really powerful for us, as a church, so that we can hopefully walk alongside those of us who are grieving or where we've suffered loss. And we can do that well. But one thing that she kept saying, and I paid particular attention because I'm doing this talk today, about being the light, about Jesus being the light, about us being the light. And what she said near the end, which was really powerful, she said that all we need to do to be the light, listen to this isn't that complicated. It's not that difficult. All we need to do to be the light is to show up. Can we manage showing up? I mean, I can do that. I'm pretty good at showing up if I need to. Sometimes I don't want to, but I'm good at doing it. We can show up. Show up with people who are walking in the darkness. Don't hide away from them. Jesus, don't hide. Don't hide your light under a bowl. You are a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. Stop trying to hide it because you can't hide it, because it's not who you are, because you are light. You need to show up. Second one, you need to be present where you show up. So don't just show up and be like, I'm here, woo, I'm here on my own, having a great time over here in the corner. Show up and be present. Be with the people that you're with. Sit down next to them. See them, truly, fully see them, listen to them. Sit with them, be with them. She said that people have, there's lots of different ways of looking at life, but she said that people have these 4 basic needs that we all have. And we do. To be fully seen, to be fully heard, to be fully accepted, to be fully loved. I'm going to read that again. To be fully seen, to be fully heard, to be fully accepted, and to be fully loved. I am so grateful as a child of God that I know that whatever anyone else sees or knows, God sees me fully. I am fully seen by God, fully. I am fully heard by God. I'm fully accepted. Surely not fully accepted. Surely a bit isn't accepted. Surely the not such nice bits that sometimes show up aren't accepted. No, I'm fully accepted. And I'm fully loved. Fully. Jesus died on the cross. He gave everything for me. He gave everything for you. You are fully seen. You are fully heard. You are fully accepted. And you are fully loved. If we get that inside as part of our identity, in the core of who we are, then when I show up, I am the light. And I am a light that is fully seen, fully heard, fully accepted and fully loved. I am then not operating out of my own insecurities or I'm not looking in a situation, what can I get out of this? What do I need? Well, I need someone to be nice to me today because I'm really tired. I'm there being the light. I'm there being the light. And because I am fully accepted, fully loved, fully known, fully heard, so I can shine brightly and I can sit next to you because maybe you're walking around in the dark and you feel the opposite of fully seen. You don't feel seen. You don't feel heard. You don't feel at all accepted. And you feel completely unloved. Some of the people that we walk alongside in life, that is what's going on for them in their world. That is what's going on. And they will continue to walk around in circles in the dark until somebody who is the light shows up, sits next to them and says, I see you. Let's chat. How are you doing? No, we don't. How are you really doing? Okay, I see that's hard. I hear you. That's heartbreaking. And you tell them, do you know what? You've suffered a lot of rejection, haven't you, in your life? And that's really painful. But you know what? God loves you. And he sees you, and he hears you, and he knows you. And you light their landscape. But you're not pointing to you, like Anna said. They're not looking at you. You're the light that is pointing them to Jesus. There's a really great story. Oh, I've got to skip, but let me see how I'm doing for time. Okay. I'm going to skip the next couple of slides and go to slide number, it's all a bit confusing. The one with the picture of the swimmer, guys. Can you put that one on? Yeah, we've got that one. Brilliant, okay. This is a great story. So has anyone watched Young Woman at Sea? I think that's what it's called, something like that. Young Woman of the Sea, something. I'm getting the name wrong. It's on, I think, maybe Disney. I don't know. It's on something. Some streaming channel of somewhere at the moment. And it's the true story of a swimmer called Gertrude Ederle. And she was the first female swimmer to swim the English Channel. And she swam it on August the 6th, 1926. Now, the movie, I'm sure, has some artistic elements to it. But I'm just going to tell what I saw in the movie. I'm sorry, I'm going to give you the final scene. Sorry, guys, sorry. If you're going to watch it. But you've probably guessed, since she was the first female swimmer who managed to do it, you've probably guessed the ending, haven't you, by now? So this lady, Trudy, sets off from France at 7 o'clock-ish in the morning of 6th of August, and she swims throughout the day. She swims and she swims. She faces storms. She faces swarms of jellyfish and is really badly stung. And it's near the end of her swim, and it's getting dark. It's nighttime, and it's getting dark. Now, in the movie, the boat that has been alongside her gets sandbanked, and they can't keep going with her. So suddenly, with just a few miles to go, Trudy is lost in the sea, in the dark. She's exhausted, she's in pain, she's worn out. And this incredible scene in the movie where you see her in the water and you can tell that in the movie that she's looking like she's about to give up, and she looks up. And she didn't realize, but on the shores of Dover, on the cliffs, the villagers and townspeople had been hearing about what Trudy was going to do, and they all came out and they lit bonfires on the cliffs of Dover, one bonfire after another, after another, after another. And this scene in the movie, when I watched it, just cried. I mean, I cry a lot, as you probably can guess. Just made me cry, because the power of the group of people pulling together, lighting the bonfires. She turns around and she sees it as a faint light in the distance, and she knows where she's going. And so she keeps going, and it gives her the strength and the perseverance to keep on going, and she makes it to the other side as the first woman to cross the ocean. We are a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. What if we work together, lighting fires in our communities, lighting fires wherever we go, pointing to Jesus? This is the way home. This is the way home. This is it. This is the way home. This is the way back to the Father, who will be ready to run to you with his arms open when he sees you coming. This is the way. This is the way. And all I have to do, all you have to do, is show up and be present and love. That's it. You are the light. Can we say, I am the light? I am the light of the world. Ready? I am the light of the world. And I'm going to point to Jesus, who is the light of the world. The one who fully sees, fully hears, fully knows. Band, I'd like you to invite you back up, please. You are the light of the world. Be the light of the world. There's this, I'm not going to read it all. I did have it on a couple of slides. But in the Old Testament, there's this really incredible scene in Exodus 33 and 34 where Moses goes up Mount Sinai to receive the Ten Commandments and to meet with God. He's up there for 40 days and 40 nights with God. Moses asks to see God, and God says, no, nobody can see me fully and live. So Moses hides, puts his hand over his face, and God walks past. And then it says basically that Moses can talk to God's back, but not his front. And Moses then, for 40 days and 40 nights, is up there with God, chatting with God, getting the instructions from God. And in Exodus 34, maybe I will read it to you, the Exodus 34 bit. It's when he comes down from the mountain. So Moses has been with God up on the mountain. We've got that, being with God up in the mountain. Can't fully see God because God is so bright. And it says, when Moses came, this is Exodus 34, 29 to 35. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hands, he was not aware, I like that bit. He was not aware that his face was radiant because he'd spoken with the Lord. He didn't know. He was busy. Moses was there with a face shining, literally, physically, radiant, shining light. Moses didn't realize. But he'd been in God's presence so closely that his face radiant with light. Moses was light. Moses was light because he'd been in God's presence, saturating himself in God's presence. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him, but Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterward, all the Israelites came near, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. He was still shining. His face was still shining, radiating God's glory. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. So he was there, veil off, radiating with God. Isn't that gorgeous, that image? Moses' face shining, God's beauty and splendor and majesty and glory, so bright. That time together, you know what? You and I are invited into the very presence of God. Because of what Jesus did, we can step into the very presence of God. And I don't know about you, my face, as far as I'm aware, it might have been a bit shiny now and then, but it hasn't shone like that. But our lives, when we spend time with him, saturated in his word, in his presence, praying with others, with the city on the hill together. Wow, what if our faces, what if we, city on a hill that cannot be hidden, shine? We don't even know we're shining because it's just who we are, because of who God is. And then people see our good deeds and they praise our Father in heaven. Imagine what that would look like. Imagine what that could look like. Dr. Martin Luther King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Let's stand to our feet. Maybe you knew that you were light. Maybe you know you're light. But maybe someone else has put a basket over you, trying to hide your light. When I was praying about today, that's one of the images God gave me, was that there are people here who, in their homes particularly, actually, have had to hide their light because someone else hid it for them. That when they've tried to shine, the darkness has been so scared of the light that they've shoved a basket over you. But do you know what? The light always shines brighter than the darkness. And Jesus knows, and God knows, and you are fully seen, and you are fully known, and you are fully heard. And so Jesus wants to say to you this morning, take that basket off. It's your time to shine. It's your time to shine again, because that's who He's made you. Don't listen to any voices saying that you're not that, because you are. That's who He's made you to be. So if you need some prayer and you need some people to stand with you, because if that's you, you will need people to stand with you in that, because it might be a difficult stand that you need to take. But God says, shine, shine. Maybe you've been running around on the outside with all these wonderful good deeds going, look at this lovely thing I'm doing over here. Look how wonderful I am. I'm going to help this person over here. Everyone, look, I'm doing this lovely thing. But maybe when you've gone home, your light has been, you're there and you yourself have put that basket over yourself and gone, I'm tired from shining out there. I'm not going to shine in here. And maybe at home you've been really difficult to be around. Maybe you've done that. And you've been trying to point to you. But do you know what? If you're operating from your true identity as a child of God, God will show you with His light what's missing. Why are you needing that approval out there? Come back to Him. Come home. And let Him shine His light on you and show you what's going on for you. And be a light at home, be a light outside, because that's who God's made you to be. Because that's who God's made you to be. We are a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. Arun Church, let's be seen for our good deeds. But not so that everyone can go, whoa, aren't Arun Church great? I don't care what people think about that. But so people go, wow, look at the God that they serve. Look at Jesus. Look how He changed that person's life. I want some of that. And let's light up the world that we're in, because we are light. He is light. You are fully seen, fully heard, fully accepted, fully loved. So if you want prayer for any of that, anything like that, then come to the front now and let's just sing. And the prayer team will be here to pray with you guys if anything struck you. But let's go this week, church. Let's be the light. Come on, let's be the hands and feet of Jesus. Let's see fires lit. Come on, church. Come on, church. Light yourselves up. Be the light. Come on. You are the light. Stop hiding. You are the light. Stop making excuses. You are seen. You are loved. You are known. Step into that identity. It's children of God. Step into that identity.